All right, so let's see. This guy's involved with Goldman Sachs as a consultant. No surprise there. He's got 9/11 cover-up written all over it, involved with all sorts of technologies, including remote-controlled airplanes, drones. We just posted an article at the website, Jack, at bobtuskin.com.
Yeah.
The U.S. just bought the most expensive drones in the world. They're good to have.
You know, I like the
NNDB. Yeah, that's always a
stuff here that I didn't even put in my article, such as Leon Panetta being on the advisory council of British Petroleum. Sorry, Beyond Petroleum. That he was on the Bretton Woods Committee. I mean, that's why I'm writing a 20-page article on Jay Rockefeller, because it just never ends. And at some point, I mean, look, maybe it doesn't have to be this complex. I went to buy a 6-pack of beer tonight, and it was $7 for local crappy watery beer. I mean, isn't that enough to get people pissed off? I guess not. So, and that's what we're trying to do, is not to piss people off, but to inform you enough to know that this giant spider web around you is about to suck your blood, or already is. Going back to Ashton Carter, I mean, we're talking about the Catastrophic Terrorism Elements National Policy and their study group, headed by Philip Zelikow, head of the 9/11 Commission. I mean, the irony that these guys are crafting national terrorism policy when they're the conspirators that caused this, and they're providing the solutions for 9/11. I mean, it's really covering all of your Hegelian bases, as I say. Carter, also a consultant to Goldman Sachs on international affairs and technology matters, as you mentioned, member of the Aspen Strategy Group, which is kind of like a local, and remember that Denver Airport, right. Aspen, this is the headquarters of the North American Union, Atlanta being the headquarters of the American Union.
Jack, I don't mean to interrupt, but I just found another one for Carter. He's a CNP member.
Well, that makes sense.
Center for National Policy. I just did a quick Google, Carter, and not Jimmy Carter. What's this guy's first name again?
Ashton Carter.
Ashton Carter.
Not that being in this group, at the Council on Foreign Relations, or even the Aspen Strategy Group, not that definitely makes you, some kind of a conspirator, an evil person. But when you're in all of these groups at the same time, and you're constantly being rewarded for your incompetence and your malfeasance, I mean, there is definitely something wrong with that. He is a Rhodes Scholar, like his buddy Bill Clinton. I've got a link which will show you how Cecil Rhodes set this up for global domination by the British Empire, if you're interested. And then Ashton Carter, also on the board of the Rockefeller University. How do you get these positions?
Check out this link I just found. Warning of a nuclear 9/11, a CNP panel discussion with Sam Nunn, Ashton Carter, Leonard Spector, Juliet Kayyem, and Stephen Brill. I mean,
that's why I love doing your show. Because
isn't that foreshadowing right there? And this was in 2006, far before he was a member of this recent position that he got.
You've just doubled my article in about 3 or 4 minutes. If it's not enough, Dr. Ashton Carter got his bachelor degree in physics. You'd think he could have done a better job on 9/11, having a degree in physics and medieval history from Yale University. It just goes on and on and on. A lot of these guys, as you'll see with Jay Rockefeller and others, I mean, they're all the guys coming up now seem to have some connection to U.S.-Asia relations. Ashton Carter also worked with Bill Clinton and most likely was involved in the trading or giving away of technological and even nuclear secrets to the Chinese. And now everyone in the country, you ask one person who owns us, they'll all say Chinese. You ask 100 people, 90 people will answer that way. And all of these guys, and that's where Maurice Strong is right now. The billionaire Maurice Strong, the new ager who was creating a new internet here years ago and was the protege, the young little aide and protege who's now a billionaire discovered by David Rockefeller when he was a teenager. He is in China overseeing China. So all of this stuff really starts coming together, and it gets us out of this kind of propaganda that we're supposed to hate China and everything else. I'm not saying hate them or don't hate them, but let's realize why we should hate them, and then I'll realize that all of these leaders of all of these countries are sitting at the same poker table trying to cheat each other at poker, and then over their shoulder is the real power who's ready to shoot and take out anyone at the poker table if it serves their interest. Carter is a total New World Order shill. I think he has direct connections and knowledge into 9/11. If you put that guy into the hot lamps and used a little enhanced Dick Cheney torture on him, he'd probably spill the beans on everybody. And then if that's not enough, he worked with Condoleezza Rice at the Secretary of State on her board from 2006 to 2008. So again, so much for change, right, Cousin Barry?
Oh yeah, he was also a Rhodes Scholar. Okay. Did you mention that?
Chairman of NATO's high-level group, participated in negotiations that led to the deployment of Russian troops as part of the Bosnia New World Order, quote-unquote, peace plan.
What is it about being a Rhodes Scholar? I mean, Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar. That seems to be the path of indoctrination to be grandfathered into some of these positions.
If you look into the new Bilderberg Group, which I've been talking about for well over 2 years now, the Clinton Global Initiative, or CGI, that's appropriate, right? You're going to see that most of these guys are Rhodes Scholars. Rachel Maddow, of course, is a Rhodes Scholar, and the list goes on and on. Chris Christopherson is actually a Rhodes Scholar.
Now, I know that a lot of them are Rhodes Scholar, but if I'm not mistaken, in Tragedy and Hope, the famous book by Carol Quigley, they actually mention that becoming a Rhodes Scholar will help you get yourself on that round table of people that can...
The whole roundtable groups as we know them, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, the Council on Foreign Relations, I guess you'd throw the Club of Rome in that, and on and on, these secret groups, they were all started by Cecil Rhodes off of diamond and resource money out of Africa back, 150 years ago. And he set these roundtables up so that Britain would control the world. That was the New World Order here 150 years ago. Now it's moved on a little bit, and they all kind of have these mutual goals. I don't know if it's run by the Queen, or I tend to think that's a lot of BS, but if you're a Rhodes Scholar, you are for world government. It's like being a Fabian socialist, and that's what really Rhodes Scholars are for all intents and purposes, Bob. And these people, they don't like sovereignty. They don't like freedom. And their version of freedom, and this is how they sleep at night, is by helping us into this technotronic era, one world government controlled by a few elites, unrestrained by traditional values, as Brzezinski said once. So, yeah, Ashton Carter, man. See, and I finish, this can just go on and on and on, but I finished my article talking about how easy it would be to do better. How easy it would be if I was like the hypothetical president, or you were, and how you could just put Bob Bowman in as Secretary of Defense, let him pick his staff, let him approve whatever massive budget cuts, bring our troops home from all around the world, stop, spending $700 on hammers and $8,000 on toilet seats, cut P2OG, which is the terrorist faction of the Pentagon. There's just so many things you could do that would be so easy, and people think this is hard. It's not hard, but we don't have the power, although the people are screaming pretty loud and getting a little more power all the time, and at least getting what they call, deals being done here. But that's how you fix it. You put a Bob Bowman in as Secretary of the Defense, or you put a Judge Napolitano in as, justice, and you could just fix all these things. You just need the right people, not more Ashton Carters or Leon Panettas or Jay Rockefellers. That's it. And that's why we keep seeing the same thing happening over and over and over again, because we keep putting these initiated secret society people in who have too much to lose to do anything but go along with the cabal.
Well, it's time we put in some good people, folks. But as you know or may not know, I'm not actually going to be putting any effort into any election in the near future unless it's a local election for sheriff's office. So That's just my stance these days.
Well, yeah, but we are the political wind. I mean, you look at the history of the Tea Party and how did that start out with myself and maybe you and others walking down and doing exactly what our forefathers in this country intended, which was to dump the IRS and the CIA and the alphabet agencies and the surveillance agencies into the water and finish them off once and for all. So that had enough juice. Now, of course, it's been manipulated and it's being used against us even as we speak. But at least we had some input there, and we put Rand Paul in, and he's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. So I am not one to give up on politics. I don't talk about it a lot. I don't, I'm not a politician. I don't endorse people per se. I never have. But I still vote, and I still think that there's a chance that enough people under enough dire circumstances in this country will wake up enough to start at least giving these guys a little bit of a run for their money. And it's sometimes, man, all it's about is just slowing them down. Just slowing them down a little bit. And I can see a number of examples from the free trade area of the Americas, which is still not officially done, or the Real ID.
Yeah, Jack, let's pick that up when we get back in just a second for the final segment. Folks, don't go anywhere.